Hello friends, welcome back to our YouTube channel ABK Smart Study. So today we will continue the part 3 of mechanical engineering subject applied thermodynamics and their objectives. So this is part 3 of our lecture series. So keep watching.
So let us start the question 1 of the today's lecture. A system undergoes a change of state during which 100 kJ of heat transferred to it and it does 50 kJ of work. The system is brought back to its original state through a process during which 120 kJ of heat is transferred to it. So the work done by the system is, so here the system consists of net heat transfer is equal to 100 kJ. Here net heat transfer is equal to 100 kJ plus 120 is equal to 170 kJ. So here net heat transfer is equal to 100 plus 120, so is equal to 220, and here the it does 50 kJ of work. So 50 kJ of work it does. So here the work done by the system is equal to total heat transfer minus it does 50 kJ of work, means 220 minus 50 is equal to 170. So the work done by the system is equal to 170 kJ. So here option C is the correct answer. Next question. For a pure substance at its triple point, the number of degrees of freedom is. So for a pure substance, here options are given 0, 1, 2 and none of the above. When the substance is pure and its a triple point, the number of degree of freedom is always equal to be 0. So here option A is the correct answer. Next question. The state of a real gas is changed from pressure P1 to T1 to pressure P2 temperature T2. Then the change of enthalpy H2 minus H1 is given by. So here two state given which changes from pressure P1 temperature T1 to pressure P2 and temperature T2. So the enthalpy H2 minus H1 is given by the equations. The equations are given below, that is 1 integration of T1 to T2 Cp dt, 2 integration of T1 to T2 Cp dt plus integration of P1 to P2 in bracket dappa V upon dappa P bracket close T into dP, C integration of T1 to T2 Cv into bracket P1 to P2 into V minus T bracket dappa V by dappa T bracket close P and dP, and last option D is given integration of T1 to T2 plus integration of P1 to P2 in bracket V minus T integration of dV upon dt bracket close P and bracket close dP. So here option D is the correct, that is the enthalpy change H2 minus H1 is given by the equation T integration of T1 by T1 to T2 Cp dt plus P1 P2 in bracket V minus T in bracket dV upon dt bracket close P whole bracket close into dP. So here D is the correct answer for the given problem. Next question. If pressure P is equal to pressure T is equal to temperature, PC is equal to critical pressure, and TC is equal to critical temperature. Then the value of compressibility factor, approximately unity. When the value of compressibility factor is approximately unity, here options are given: A, P is equal to PC and T is equal to TC, B, P is equal to 0, C, T is equal to 10 and 10 TC and P is less than PC, and option D, none of the above. So when the value of compressibility factor is approximately unity when pressure is equal to 0. So here option B is the correct answer of above question. Next question: the availability per unit mass of a system phi in the absence of kinetic and potential energy change is defined or calculated by. So availability per unit mass of system phi is defined or calculated by. Here options are: maximum work obtainable when the system goes to the dead state. Option B, maximum useful work obtainable when the system goes to the dead state. Option C, U minus T0S minus U0 minus T0S0 plus P0 into V minus V0. And option 4, H minus T0S minus H0 minus T0S0 bracket close. So here the availability per unit mass of system phi is given by the equation. Option B also correct and option C is also correct. So both the options B and C are the correct for the availability per unit mass of system phi. So here option B and C is the correct answer. Next question: a dew point temperature of a humid air is. So dew point temperature means option 1, always higher than the wet bulb temperature. This is wrong. Option B, never higher than the wet bulb temperature. This is right, because dew point temperature is never higher than the wet bulb temperature. Option C, the temperature of air obtained on cooling it till saturation at constant pressure. This option also correct. And option D, the temperature of air obtained cooling in till saturation at constant volume. So option D is wrong. So here two options B and option C are the correct explanation of dew point temperature of humid air. So here B and C is the correct answers. Next question: with reference to air standard Otto and diesel cycle, which of the following statements are true? So here 4 statements are given with reference to Otto cycle, Otto and diesel cycle. So which are true? So statement 1 is, for a given compression ratio and the same state of air before compression, diesel cycle is less efficient than Otto cycle. So option 1 is correct. Option B, for a given compression ratio and the same state of air before compression, diesel cycle is more efficient than an Otto cycle. So this is wrong. This is wrong. Option C, the efficiency of a diesel cycle decreases with an increase in the cutoff ratio. So option C is also correct. And option D, the efficiency of diesel cycle increases with increase in the cutoff. So this is wrong. So here options are A and C. Both are the correct answer. Which statement are true? That is A and C with reference to air standard Otto and diesel cycles. So option A and C is the correct answer. Next question. Here the problem is given, that is 90 kg of ice at 0 degree Celsius are completely melted if T2 is equal to 0 degree Celsius. So here we have delta S is required to calculate. So change in entropy is required to calculate here. So 90 kilogram of ice. So 90 kilogram of ice is required to calculate. So here delta S is equal to, we know delta S is equal to Q by T, Q upon T. So here Q is equal to, here 90, we know Q is equal to mg, m into latent heat of ice, that is weight of ice is 90. So 90 into latent heat of ice is equal to, latent heat of ice is equal to 320. 90 into 320 divided by temperature. Temperature is equal to 273. So by calculating this, we get change in entropy is equal to 105 kilojoule per Kelvin. So here 90 kilogram of ice at 0 degree Celsius are completely melted if T2 is equal to 0, if delta S is equal to 105 kilojoule per Kelvin. So here option D is the correct answer. Next question. Which of the following system will have the highest efficiency for the conversion of heat from the reservoir into work? So which of the following system? System 1, steam at 100 degrees Celsius and water at 25 degrees Celsius. So here first of all we convert this temperature into Kelvin, that is first option's temperature become 373 and 298. So here Carnot, using Carnot efficiency we have T1 minus T2 upon T1. So by calculating this we get here efficiency is equal to 0.20. So same for procedure for 2, we calculating efficiency is equal to 0.30. And for option C, mercury vapor at 357 degrees Celsius and liquid mercury at 100 degrees Celsius. Same procedure for this is equal to 0.41. And for option 4, helium at 2000 degrees Celsius from atomic reactor and helium at 500 degrees Celsius. So for calculating this is equal to 0.66. So efficiency of option D is higher. So highest efficiency for the conversion of heat from the reservoir into sink work is helium at 20 degrees Celsius. That is option D, helium at 2000 degrees Celsius and helium at 500 degrees Celsius is maximum Carnot efficiency for the reservoir into work. So option D is the correct answer. Next question. The theoretical mechanical efficiency of a jet engine, neglecting frictional and thermal losses when driving a vehicle, has its maximum. So here theoretical mechanical efficiency of jet engine when driving a vehicle at its maximum speed. So option R, only when the vehicle moves at sonic velocity. Option B, when outlet gas approach zero absolute velocity. Option C, when the vehicle speed approaches the magnitude of the relative velocity of gases at nozzle exit. And option D, only when the relative velocity at nozzle exit is at its maximum. So when the theoretical mechanical efficiency of jet engine is at its maximum speed, when driving a vehicle has its maximum, then is equal to it when the vehicle speed approaches the magnitude of the relative velocity of gases at nozzle exit. So here option C is the correct answer for this question 53. Next question. A gas turbine cycle. So here a gas turbine cycle with heat exchanger and reheating improves. So what improves when we use heat exchanger and reheating the gas? So in gas turbine cycle, what happen? So we with heat exchanger and reheating. Option A, only the thermal efficiency. Option B, only the specific power output. Option C, both thermal efficiency and specific power output. And option D, neither thermal efficiency nor specific power output. So when a gas turbine cycle with heat exchanger and reheating improves its only the specific power output. So here option B, only the specific power output improves, is the correct answer. So option B is the correct. Next question. The practice to use steam on the shell side and cooling water on the tube side. So cooling water on tube side, it condensers of the steam power plant because. So why are using we the steam on the shell side and cooling water on tube side? So your options are: option A, to increase overall heat transfer coefficient, water side velocity can be increased if water is on the tube side. Option B, condensation can act as a storage unit for condensed steam. Option C, rate of condensation of steam is invariably smaller than the mass flow rate of cooling water. And option D, it is easier to maintain vacuum on the shell side than the tube side. So the practice to use steam on the shell side and cooling water on tube side, it condensers, that is to increase the overall heat transfer coefficient, water side, and velocity can be increased if water on the tube side. So here specific volume of steam is large and more volume is required for steam. Hence shell side is used for steam and water is circulated through the tube in condenser. So here option A is the correct answer. Why? So option A is the correct answer for this question. Next question. For a given set of operating pressures limits of a Rankine cycle, the highest efficiency occur for. So here we know the efficiency of ideal regenerative cycle is exactly equal to that of the corresponding Carnot cycle. That is, Rankine cycle efficiency exactly equal to the corresponding Carnot cycle. Hence the efficiency of regenerative cycle means Rankine cycle is the highest efficiency occur for only at regenerative cycle. So here option D is the correct answer. That is, for a given set of operating pressure limits of a Rankine cycle, the highest efficiency occur for the only regenerative cycle, because its efficiency exactly equal to that of the corresponding Carnot cycle. So here option D is the correct answer. Next question. Match the list 1 with list 2 and select the correct answer from the codes given below the list. So here list 1 and list 2 is given. That is, first, isobaric thermal expansion coefficient. So that is 1 by T. Option B, then B, isothermal compressibility is 1 by P. Then isentropic compressibility is 1 upon gamma P. And Joule-Thomson coefficient is always equal to B0. So here 4, 5, 6, 7, that is option A, 4, 5, 6, 1 is the correct answer for that question. So here 4, 5, 6, 7 is the option A is the correct answer. Next question. In adiabatic flow with friction, the stagnation temperature along a streamline. So in a adiabatic flow with friction, the stagnation temperature along a streamline, options are increases, option B decreases, option C remains constant, and option D, either increase or decrease. So in adiabatic flow with friction, the stagnation temperature along a streamline always remains constant. That is option C. So option C is the correct answer for this question. Next and last question of today's lecture. Match the list 1 and list 2 and select the correct answer from the codes given below the list. So here list 1 and list 2 is given for heat entities and cycle. List 1 and list 2 is given. So for gas turbine we use heat addition at constant volume followed by heat addition at constant temperature. So for gas turbine we use constant pressure heat addition and constant pressure heat reduction for gas turbine. Then for petrol engine, constant volume heat addition and constant volume heat rejection. Then for Stirling engine, heat addition at constant volume followed by heat addition at constant temperature. And for diesel engine we use constant pressure heat addition and constant volume heat rejection. So here option A 3142 is correct for this question. So for gas turbine we use constant pressure heat addition and constant pressure heat rejection. For petrol engine we use constant volume heat addition and constant volume heat rejection. For Stirling engine we use heat addition at constant volume followed by heat addition at constant temperature. And for last diesel engine we use constant pressure heat addition and constant volume heat rejection. So option A 3142 is the correct answer for the above question. So this is the last question. So subscribe our YouTube channel, like, share and comment for your any queries, and subscribe our YouTube channel ABK Smart Study. And thank you for watching.